Okay, Dawn here with Romance Happy Hour, and Dylan is at an author event, so it's just me and my lovely guests, Rebecca Barton and Heidi Hutchinson. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Well, good. Thank you.
Good. So typically this is the part where we talk about what we're working on. So right now I'm just working on keeping my head above water. I got my in-laws here, so that's what I'm working on, and just kind of getting the next couple cowboy books out. But what are you ladies working on?
Shall I start?
Sure.
Yeah. I relate to keeping your head above water. I'm trying to buy a house at the moment, and that's I don't know whether having parents in law stay is as bad or as challenging, but yeah, so that's kind of distracting. But in the meantime, I'm working on book 1 of my series, and I'm doing quite a lot of rewrites on it, and I'm actually really enjoying it, you know, tightening it up and sort of responding to a lot of the feedback that I had from the editor and feeling just like kind of falling in love with it again, which has been great.
Yeah. Now I notice your accent, so tell our viewers where you are joining us from, because I always love it when you guys join us from.
Well, and also like I'm in daylight, which maybe gives you a clue, because it's actually Friday. I'm talking to you from the future, from New Zealand, which always entertains people that's possible. But I'm right down in the southern hemisphere in New Zealand, at the top of the South Island.
Yay.
It's lovely to be connecting with all of you.
Yes, it is. It's so amazing, this like FaceTime, Zoom, broadcast, just being able to connect almost face to face. I mean, video face to face.
Wonderful. And I think, you know, in COVID times, it's like we've all kind of learned to use that more. But you know, I've spent a lot of time working overseas and just came back to live in New Zealand in the last 20 months. And it just makes me feel so much more connected to my people, that I can continue to do all of this online school. It's great. It's actually really, really special to be able to do that.
Yes, that's awesome. And Heidi, where are you joining us from?
I'm in the Black Hills of South Dakota. So we just moved here a few months ago. My husband bought a business, and so we kind of moved spur of the moment, and we're still acclimating to the whole new life. But I used to live here a long time ago, so for me it's been a lot easier.
Okay.
But my husband and child are from a much more humid climate, so they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's so dry." Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah. So what are you working on?
I'm working on my second book for Smarty Pants Romance. I can't really talk about it too much, but it will be the second one for them. And it's about rock stars again, because it's kind of my bread and butter. That's what I do. So
nice. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So we have some viewers here, and I'm going to say pop those comments in there. So, but let's talk about what genres you guys write right now. So Rebecca, what genre do you like to write in the most? And have you ever like thought about or written in a different genre, like tested yourself?
I'm fairly new to romance writing, is the truth. And so I sort of have launched into contemporary romance because I really like reading about real people in real time. Like I sort of have that idea of, you know, ordinary people with lit up lives. I enjoy that. So that's where I've sort of started. I traveled a lot, so I like exotic locations as well. But it's interesting because I also do my other sort of occupation is audiobook narration, and so it's a wonderful way of discovering different genres. And I've been narrating a series of cozy mysteries, and to be honest, I know it's not like strictly romance, but I'm kind of tempted to have a go because they're really fun to narrate.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I just got my what is it called? All my headphones, my microphone, my interface. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm going to try to narrate my own books here coming up, and I'm a little bit nervous about that. So I might be reaching out to you for some.
Yes. Let's talk about that, because it's kind of a steep learning curve, but it's a lot of fun. And I love narrating for other authors as well. Like it's such a privilege, especially if you write yourself and you know what goes into it, and then somebody shares their book with you to bring it into this new dimension. It's really it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Now, Heidi, I'm going to add one more question to yours. So what do you write? Do you ever want to write in a different genre? And also, do you narrate your own books?
I don't narrate my own books, but I have thought about it. I've tried to convince my husband to help me, and he has a great voice. It's super deep, and I love to listen to him talk. But he gets shy, and so he's like, "No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that." I'm like, "Come on, but you'd be so good at it." But no.
Yeah.
I write contemporary romance, mostly rock stars. I have a half series that's almost finished of extreme athletes, which is kind of, it came out of nowhere. So I was like, I guess I'm writing this now. I just like to explore the world in different ways. And so I try to do that through different characters, you know?
Yeah.
And what else did you ask me? You asked me what I wrote. Oh, if I would do a different genre. My son is 10, and he would very much like me to do sci-fi. He has begged me to write sci-fi. He wants me to do something in that. And so I joke about it with him, but maybe someday, you know, maybe he and I will do something together, you know.
He might narrate with you.
Yeah.
If you make him a character.
Yeah. I think that might be kind of fun. Maybe do a young adult or something in sci-fi and have my son involved with that. That might be really fun.
Yeah, that would be. My daughter currently, I wouldn't have her like write with me, you know, the romance, but she does. She's an amazing artist. So I do some illustrations for children's books, and she's a better artist than me. I'm going to admit that right now. So I've convinced her, hey, like help me out with this one. So my next illustration book, she's kind of helping me out on, and then she's going to do after that her own illustrations. So she's kind of dipping her foot. She's only 16, but she's kind of dipping her foot into the illustration pool. So at the time, yeah. So that's fun. It's always fun when you can have your kids join you on something. I know, like Brenda Novak, her daughter is her assistant, you know, and they are just do so much together. It's great. Like I love watching their dynamic. But yes. And Catherine, I will say, I am 100% working on getting Chief to narrate with me. So that's the plan. So yeah, I got to get the system down first. And then I've been like, guess what, babe? Which he's listening. He's on here. We get to like take all these voice classes and stuff that are free online. I can find from the ACX. So.
Well, you know how I told you that I'm looking for a new house? Like a big part of this is to have a space which I can dedicate to studio as opposed to working from my wardrobe, which is where a lot of us start our narration journey because wardrobes make a fantastic sound booth, actually. But you know, like I'm in enough now that like I'd really like a space where I feel I don't have to stare at my, you know, old jeans hanging in the wardrobe as I'm trying to get into a character. So I'm making a space for that in my dream house.
Yep. And I think I told you earlier that we just bought our house like maybe 2 months ago, like when you first saw me. So and I'll show you. This is my little studio. I just turned it into. It's actually, I feel like Harry Potter because I saw the space underneath the stairs, and I told my husband, I'm like, that's fine. It's my cupboard under the stairs. So I just soundproofed it, and it's hot in here, but I'm excited. So.
Okay, I can feel myself. I want to talk like all narration stuff now, but open invitation. Anytime we can talk about narration because there's some great resources. I'd love to.
All right.
Yeah.
I will be 100% messaging you after this. Yay. Yay. All right. So you ladies are here to read to us. And what books are you reading from? Rebecca, go ahead.
I'm going to read from my novella, which is in the anthology that you and I are both in for the Love Comes to Town, and it's called Christmas at La Villa Rosa. And yeah, I'm just going to read a little bit from that.
Awesome.
Shall I sort of give you a little description of what's happening, or
let's talk to Heidi real quick, and then once I pop you up there, you can you can set us up for your scene and everything before you start reading. Okay. So Heidi, what book are you reading from? Oh, and I forgot to tell you ahead of time, they love covers. So if you have your book cover, either pop it on the page or show us right there. And if not, that's okay, because it's on the giveaway too. Okay. So
this is the one I'll be reading from. I can see. Is it? I hope it shows up.
Yeah.
Too big of a glare. It's called Key Change, and it's from Smarty Pants Romance. It's third in the series, but it's a collaborative series, so it stands by itself. So you can just read it on its own. You don't have to read the other ones. But it's a bad girl redemption story.
Oh, fun.
She's real mean. Like, she's the meanest person I have ever written, ever. I've never written a character like this. This is my 15th book, and I've never written a character like hers. And I didn't know if I could pull it off. And I think I did. I think I did okay. She's real mean, but she's real fun. And she's a rock star in hiding. She's decided to leave the industry, and a lot of her backstory was inspired by the it girls of the early aughts. Remember them? You know, Britney Spears and Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan, and how they were just in the tabloids constantly. So a lot of her backstory came from that, you know, the tabloids and different things. And so she's decided she's going to change her life, and she's in hiding, and then someone finds her, and like stuff transpires then. So
nice. And so does she have a meltdown? I mean, I know this might give it away. Dylan would usually get after me for asking questions, but
well, it opens with like an article written by a tabloid that talks about her last meltdown.
Oh, okay.
And then she disappears like off the face of the earth. So like, but this, like, the last the public ever saw of her was like this big epic thing where she takes her clothes off and punches a guy at an award show. Like, it's it's massive. So
nice. Okay. All right. Well, with that, Rebecca, you have agreed to go first for us. So I'm going to pop you up there. Go ahead. Feel free to set us up, and then, you know, let's hear your beautiful words.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So I'm going to start reading sort of from near the beginning of the story from chapter 2. This story centers around Caterina Boraldo, and she's grown up in Bologna, in the Italian city Bologna, which is a food capital where you can go and get wonderful food to eat there. And she has gone to Milan and studied to become an interior designer, and she's now coming back for the Christmas holidays, and she's gone to visit her old friends and mentor at the restaurant where she used to waitress when she was a teenager. So her dream has always been to kind of get away from her working class roots. Her mother was a cleaner, and she's been away, she's studied, and now she's come back, and she's come to say hello and Merry Christmas to her sort of found family at the restaurant. And of course she meets someone she's not expecting to meet when she's there. So Enzo, who's the chef of the restaurant, has a very good friend called Antonio, and Antonio is helping him build his dream culinary kitchen at his old farmhouse. And he's just introduced Antonio to Caterina. And hopefully this makes sense just going into it. I'm still working on my elevator pitch. Okay, so chapter 2. He's been asked by Enzo has just broken this awkward silence and said, "You two are going to make magic at La Villa Rosa," because La Villa Rosa is the name of the house where he's going to have this wonderful cooking school. So chapter 2. I'm going to build cabinets at La Villa Rosa, Enzo. Cabinets and maybe a nice freestanding kitchen island topped with cedar. I don't do magic. Antonio's voice was deep and gruff. From the lips of a more animated man, he may have sounded like he was offering a light-hearted jibe at his old school friend, but his statement was dry and blunt, and he definitely didn't smile. Enzo, however, did. See, I know you are, but what you fail to realize, my friend, is that your cabinets are magic. And yes, we have to have the kitchen island, but... He cast a glance at Caterina. This is where Questa Bella Donna comes in. Antonio, let me introduce you to Caterina Boraldo, my former protege and now a highly qualified interior designer from Milan, no less. Antonio blinked slowly and raised his chin ever so slightly in acknowledgement. Still no smile. I know she will want a little project to occupy her over the vacation, or her mother will drive her nuts. And you are the perfect person to tell her all about what we are planning with the reinvention of the tired old farmhouse into a culinary school, and Aldo's last chance at redeeming himself in Big Brother's eyes. Aldo? Caterina hadn't thought about Aldo for a long time. He was Enzo's younger brother and seemed to be work-shy of the trattoria in a way that his cousins were not. Aldo had a reputation for big, crazy dreams, which typically came crashing down around him and his family. What's Aldo's idea for La Villa Rosa? He's getting into gastro-tourism, Enzo nodded. It's the only plan he's had that I actually like. He smiled ruefully. He's going to look after the tourists, and I'm going to host them at the old family villa, which is to be a culinary school for tourists sensible enough to know that Emilia-Romagna is the only place to learn true Italian cooking. Sensible tourists, Marcello remarked as he squeezed past. Sounds like a blast. They all laughed, all except Antonio, whose face was still stony, serious, and sexy. Enzo wants me to work with this guy? How the hell am I going to manage that when he's so... She wanted to think serious, but sexy kept popping into her mind. Pushing that distracting thought aside, she addressed Antonio. She may as well try to break the ice, as she already knew there was no way she could reject this favor Enzo was asking of her. Not after everything he'd done for her. It was the least she could do, and he was right. The thought of spending 10 uninterrupted days with her mother and whichever boyfriend she had skulking around was not very appealing. La Villa Rosa was only an hour from Bologna, so it would offer the perfect escape if things at her mother's apartment were getting intense. She extended her hand to Antonio. I'm sure Enzo hasn't told you anything about this plan until this moment, but don't worry, I'm used to him too. She smiled warmly. He looked at her hand and then decided to shake it. I don't know exactly what he wants me to offer to the project, but I'd be really happy to help in whatever way I can. Are you a restoration architect? He dropped her hand and dug his back into his pocket. I'm a carpenter. I make stuff. That's all. Don't listen to him, Enzo urged. He's the most creative man I know. Enzo, don't start, Antonio muttered. It's true, Tony, and I'm so lucky you are my good friend who's going to make this culinary school unique. And with Caterina's eye for design, everything will flow smoothly in that busy kitchen. Everything will just be so... He punctuated his monologue with harmonious hand gestures. If you say so. Anyhow, I just came by to collect the key. I'll be there tomorrow from 9. Perfect. I will bring Caterina up mid-morning and we can discuss our... He paused and turned his head to look at each of them, a broad smile stretching across his handsome face. Our vision. He clapped his hands together, then fished a key from his back pocket and gave it to Antonio with a slap on the shoulder. Ciao, Antonio, Caterina offered as Enzo ushered him to the door, and she observed the faintest nod of recognition as he moved past her. It was either that or a twitch of irritation at having been set up by Enzo. What have I just agreed to? She murmured to Marcello as he placed a large slab of tiramisu in front of her. And I thought I would leave that there. I don't know how long I read for. Is that 10 minutes? I've got a little bit more that I could continue with.
You can read more, or you can stop there. It's fine. Either way.
I have got a little bit. I wondered whether it might be nice for people to hear Antonio's perspective of what just happened.
Sure. Yeah.
Having met her, just it's much shorter piece.
Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect. Yep.
All right. So we they have a little chat at the restaurant, and then we move forward to chapter 3, and we're back with, now we're in Antonio's point of view. It's the next morning, I think. As he swung his truck up the driveway to La Villa Rosa, Antonio Caputo wondered what he was going to do with his newly appointed colleague for the kitchen renovation. Caterina Boraldo was not like him. She was sophisticated, smart, and connected. She displayed her success in the way she dressed, the way she smiled and readily laughed, in her large, pretty brown eyes. But that little habit he'd already observed of biting her lip, was it excitement or nervousness? He'd learned a long time ago not to show emotions on his face. It attracted far too much attention. Che pare? What the hell is this? He couldn't pretend he didn't find her attractive, and that was a nuisance, as he had a job to do, and he cared about his job. It had special significance to him, not just because it was La Villa Rosa, but because it was Enzo's dream, and Enzo was the kind of guy you just wanted to do your best for. Caterina wasn't like him. She was only passing through from her big, important job in big, important Milan, and he was a villager as far as she'd be concerned. The fact that she was cute in that corduroy skirt and high black leather boots, that she smelled amazing, and her cheekbones set off her stunning complexion and long mahogany brown hair, just made it worse. Smart, rich, and beautiful. If only Enzo's former waitress had been awkward, dumpy, and boring. He depressed the brake and switched off the ignition. There she stood, La Villa Rosa, the old farmhouse of the Ponzetti family. The blush pink of the stucco exterior, its terracotta tiled roof, and the strong wooden-framed windows were rustic and timeless. The house was backdropped by rolling hills of pine and fir trees, and in the distance a church stood, its silhouette a reminder of the traditional roots of Italy. Tourists loved this kind of scene, and the truth was, Antonio loved it too, not because of its picturesque beauty, but because it spoke of generation after generation of hard-working people who had strived and toiled on this land and lovingly contributed to life in Albea. If he had to be a part of something, he was glad it was this. And given that his bread-and-butter work was modern box-like houses on the edge of Bologna in the ever-encroaching urban sprawl, he was grateful to have this job that would feed his soul. And I'll leave it there. I just thought that gives a little taste of Antonio's personality, perhaps.
I was literally just sitting here thinking, I love your voice. And I was thinking, okay, well, I can say I love your voice. And it's doubly true because not only do you have amazing accents, both of them were really great. I mean, your New Zealand accent and also your narrated one, but your writing voice as well. Beautifully done. Yeah.
Thank you. I come from a drama background, so this is kind of like me doing what I've done for my own enjoyment.
Yeah.
Not for an audience, which is great.
Yeah.
But I love playing around with accents, but I of course didn't write the book thinking I would narrate it, and then it's like, gosh, that's an interesting challenge.
Yeah. So my question is, now you said you lived overseas, so from New Zealand. Where else have you lived then?
I've lived in Bahrain in the Persian Gulf, and I also lived in Qatar, which is next to Bahrain. And then most recently, I lived in South Korea. So
okay,
yeah. So
is that were you military or
no? So I was teaching. So I worked in international schools. Yeah. So my husband and I both taught overseas, and we took our children with us, and And now I consider that to have been an opportunity to collect lots of accents and lots of stories.
Because I was going to say, did you spend time in Italy? Because that's what you had, is the Italian accent, right? Like, am I wrong?
Well,
yeah.
I don't know that I want my Italian accent critiqued by an Italian, but I do a little bit of research on my accents before I had to do an Irish one recently, and I have done some American accents as well. But you know, it's the story, right? We want to get wrapped up in a story, and I think it's what you hear in your head, right? Like whenever we're reading and we hear the voices, I think that's to read something aloud. That's for me what I want to hear. I mean, I know some people just like a straight narration, but I kind of like to hear the voices, the characters that I kind of can't help myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot, and you can like flog me later if you really want to, but let's hear your American accent.
No.
Okay, so what book can we check out to hear your American accent?
So I have a narrator website where you would be able to hear my various accents and different. Maybe I could share the link with you, and you could.
Yes. So pop it up there, like on the comments when you get a chance. And
I bet it's great. Like, I bet it's really good.
I bet it's amazing. Yeah. Like, is it cowboy or Southern American?
Well, that's what's so interesting is when you actually start, like, so for me, I've never been to the States. I know a lot of Americans. I've worked with a lot of Americans. And of course, I feel for Americans living outside of America, because there's sort of like such a generalization of what an American accent could be. And of course, there's so much nuance. I've got a good friend here who's from Austin, and when she heard my accent, she said, "It's weird. You kind of sound like you're from Idaho." And I'm like, okay.
So regionally specific.
Yeah. She's quite an observant character. So I don't know. But I think again, like, it's often just about, it's giving the hint of maybe this person's from the South, or maybe this person's from California, or we just want to tell the story and enjoy it. And that's kind of how I approach it. So, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, definitely drop that link, because I'm going to be checking it out. I'm going to listen to your American accents, and because I thoroughly enjoyed your Italian and your normal accent.
Thank you.
And Karen is a huge audio fan. She loves narrators. FYI.
Yeah.
And then also Catherine, she lived in Greece for a while. She said her Greek name is Katerina, so she's loving the female protagonist.
How lovely. Yeah, it's a pretty name. They're pretty names.
Yeah. Now we do have a couple questions, and we'll do some questions for a few minutes, and then we'll get to Heidi. Karen is our resident questionnaire.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna say, so she's always got the funnest questions, and we're gonna start with this one. What is your favorite go-to snack?
My favorite go-to snack. Gosh, it's like, I feel like that's really vulnerable for me to admit that I just love potato chips, you know, like it's it's so bad. And my children like them too, and I keep trying to just not buy them. Like, they should not be in my cupboard.
Yeah.
There's just something satisfying about the salt, the crunch, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Agreed on that one. Yeah.
So Heidi, you're a potato chip. That's your go-to snack?
Not my go-to, but if they're in the house, it is. So that's why I can't have them in the house, because it's like I can't stop thinking about them until they're gone. But I try to keep on hand dark chocolate chips and walnuts. Like those are like little snacky things, because they're rich enough that I don't need a whole bunch, that I can just have like a taste and I'm fine. And those would be like my go-to. That's my favorite, probably.
Yeah, my go-to snack is whatever I can find in the cupboard. I try not to snack, but I just like I'm the like what? I spend about 10 minutes, I think, trying to find the right snack, and usually I end up with chips. That sometimes it's cheese sticks. So all right. Oh yeah, cheese stick. I don't know. My downfall, like you're saying, is like it's ice cream and donuts and brownies. Like those 3 desserts I can't keep in the house, or I will eat them and then I will get massively sick. But
I consider brownies to be one of the best exports of American culture, full stop.
Yeah. And oh my gosh.
It's like you guys have got the brownie a little bit crispy on top, really gooey in the middle.
And I mean, the brownie Ben and Jerry's, I mean, stop. Stop right there. Brownie Ben and Jerry's is 2 in 1. All they have to do is add a donut and then I'm dead. All right, so we got what is your favorite time of the day?
Oh my gosh.
No, I bet you didn't expect these questions when you thought you'd sign up for Romance Happy Hour.
I feel bad. Again, I feel like I'm really vulnerable here, but it's actually, I think, the thought that came into my mind was like that sort of 5 minutes before my children wake up and peace is like just destroyed.
Yeah. No, I get you 100%.
I love my children and helping them get off to school, but it's just like that calm first thing in the morning. It's like, oh, whole day ahead. And then it's like the next hour of chaos before everybody vacates the space.
Like, don't feel bad, because my husband and I literally, like, I'll hear my son getting up and he'll be coming down the stairs and my husband's sitting next to me and he's like, and then he's like, what are you doing? And they're like, I'm getting up. He's like, you know, me and Mama like to sit here in silence, drinking our coffee until 6:30. So my kids know, don't come downstairs until 6:30 because Mom and Dad are having their coffee, and they just like the silence. I get that. What about you, Heidi? What's your favorite time of the day?
That first cup of coffee. So whatever time that ends up being is whenever I'm drinking that first cup of coffee.
See, you're my soul sisters already. Both of you. The first cup of coffee is our favorite time of day, all of us.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or, you know, a cup of coffee before the kids wake up. It's all the same thing to me. But all right. So what inspired you to take the leap into romance and getting published?
For me, I just thought it was, I heard some writers like yourselves talking about what they were doing, and I just thought that was so inspiring. And I think I've been kind of writing stories in my head my whole life, and I come from a drama background, so I just sort of thought I'd really like to have a go at that and see if I can avoid going back to teach in the classroom, because I was a bit over it. And then blow me down, a year later, I'm talking to you all on this wonderful romance.
Yes.
So it's that inspiration. I love empowered women, and I love the fact that romance has empowered women at the center. So it's like, it just feels like a really great thing to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heidi, what about you?
Well, I come from a family of storytellers, so like storytelling was always around while I was growing up. And then I kind of started writing these little short snippets of romances and stashing them away, kind of because embarrassed of it, like, because the stigma and everything and being made fun of was really scary and stuff like that. And then I just could never let it go. And then it wasn't until I had my first child, my only child. I don't know why I say first, but my only child. I'd been married for 3 years, and it was like I hadn't truly ever believed my husband when he told me he loved me, which was not a fault of his. It was something inside me. It was like, well, sure, you say that, but if you really knew me, married for 3 years, okay? And I'm like, well, if you really knew me, you wouldn't love me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had this little baby who was so perfect, and it wasn't until I was looking at him and I realized that that you don't have to deserve love. Love isn't about deserving. Love is so much bigger than that. And like it all clicked. I was like, oh, that's what that is. Like I trusted my love, but I didn't trust other people's love. And then when I realized that, I just started writing and I couldn't stop. And so then it's story after story. And that's pretty much every story I tell is it's not about deserving love, but you still get love. You know?
Yeah. So Rebecca, this is your first novella out, right? With the anthology. Heidi, how many books do you have out?
This will be 15.
Wow. Nice. Yeah. Good job. All right. Next question. When do you choose the cover for your story? Before, during, or after?
I chose mine after. And I just love the cover. I'm sorry I can't show you the cover. But yeah, I chose it after and I just loved it. That process of choosing was so much fun.
Yeah.
Mine depends on the story. Sometimes I have the cover ahead of time. Sometimes I have to wait till the end. This one I didn't get to choose because it was through a small house publisher. So they made the cover. But I like it. I mean, I was excited. They asked me, they were like, what do you think your girl would look like? And I'm like, well, she wears only this color and she stands like this. And so, they took my notes, but it wasn't until after the story was done.
And that's good that you like your cover. I mean, I've had some, I loved writing for Kensington, but I feel like with my covers with them, I was just like, oh, it's too much background, like there's a couple covers that you'll get that you're just like, it's not my favorite, but it'll do, but I guess the glory of indie is that if you really wanted to, you could go switch it out if you wanted to put,
I love that about indie.
Yeah.
I love that I can change whatever I want, whenever I want, just because I'm having a bad day. So everything gets changed.
Yeah. I don't like this cover anymore. Goodbye. New one. Let's rebrand. All right. So what did you edit out of your last story?
Oh my gosh. Well, I actually, a second love interest. Yeah, she had too many lovers, so I had to edit that out. I'm just putting that aside for like a little short story or a little like kind of behind the scenes reveal or something about the main character, and that's in the book that I'm currently like redoing that I said. So yeah, but nice. It's taken time to get to that point, but yeah, I had to put one of those lovers aside. Maybe he's going to himself.
I edited out a sex scene. So, like, all of my books are fade to black.
Okay.
This one, I had written a full-on love scene. And then I just, at the last minute, I was like, I can't, I had to do fade to black. That's what I've established. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I can't, 14 books into it, I can't be like, oh, surprise,
Yeah.
So I had to take, but I mean, I'll probably use it as like a bonus thing for.
I was just going to say, you could totally be like, guess what? If you want to see the love scene.
Then that way it's a choice, my
join my newsletter.
Guard or whatever, but.
Yes, that's awesome. Well, Heidi,
you might be surprised. Perhaps some of your readers are like, why is she just fading to black there? Darn it.
About 90% of my betas wanted me to keep it. Like they were like, yes, keep this. This is awesome. But I was like, maybe next time. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like when I before I started writing, I would pick up the fade to blacks. I guess I'm kind of like an in the middle person. Like I like the sensual love scenes. I don't like when I would get the fade to black, I would be like, what the hell? Sorry.
I know. Well, I've gotten reviews like that. Yeah.
But then there were some that I'm like, another love scene. Let's skip forward past this love scene. Yes, they make love. So it's like, I'm kind of in the middle. I don't know. So I guess that's how I write is there. But yeah. All right, Heidi, are you ready to read?
I believe so.
All right.
Are you guys ready to listen?
Yeah.
Okay. This is, okay, so she's hiding from the public, and she has hired people, special people, to erase her internet footprint so no one can find her. And then one day she's walking home, she's leaving the subway, and this busker catches her attention because he's singing one of her songs. So she stops to talk to him, and he recognizes her. One thing leads to another, and she ends up going to his brother's recording studio to pay him off to make them be quiet. And he's not interested because he has a history with her, but she doesn't remember it because of her functioning blackouts. Anyways, so this is from his perspective. She shows up because she has figured out a way that he needs a musician, and she can play anything. So she's like, here, I'm going to show up for you, and I'm going to do this job. And then you're going to owe me in that way. That'll buy your silence. So that's where this is at. He's waiting for her to come in, and then so that's this scene. I hope you're ready. He would not look at the time again. He'd already checked it 45 times in the past 3 minutes. The clock on the wall taunted him with an extra loud tick. He glanced up 46 times. He shoved to his feet and stalked down the hall to where Nikki was putting together an amp in Studio X's dead room. She didn't look up from her work. What's up, boss? Has anyone, he scratched the side of his neck, called? Nope, she smacked her gum. Hey, Nick, he asked, pretending to be distracted by a twisted cord on the wall. You have anyone you could set me up with? Another gum smack. Nope. Nope, he repeated. What about that one friend of yours, Amy or Dez? Babe, that was 2 years ago. Dez is married now. Besides, I'm not getting in the way of true love. I'm not that stupid. True love. She lifted just her eyes, annoyed. The front door opened, and he looked at his watch. Why did she have to be on time? She wasn't a different person, and he refused to entertain that idea. He told himself that the jump he felt in his chest was anxiety, not excitement, which, okay, maybe that was the opposite of healthy. But he was not going to be excited about working with her. She couldn't be trusted. And he would do well to remind himself of that as often as possible. Hannah came around the corner in slow motion, her hair blowing back out of her face like a Charlie's Angel. She spotted him and stopped, a perfectly bored expression on her face. Waiting for me, she asked, that smoky voice with a slight edge to it. Maybe her life circumstances had changed, but little else had. She could still make him stop breathing for a second. How he hated her. But all he had to do was get through a week of recording, and then he could hopefully put all of this behind him. He turned on his heel and headed back to the control room without a word. This was his turf, his home, his sanctuary. She would not corrupt it by getting under his skin. I thought it might be helpful if I made a list of all instruments and equipment I'm proficient in, though I may have to practice on a few of them to shake the dust off. Hannah handed him a printed off piece of paper. She took off her coat and hung it on the hook along with her purse. Then she sat down on the biggest large couch. The biggest leather couch, I'm sorry. Johnny chose to sit at the round stool near the soundboard. Did you tell Dave, Sunshine, who I am? She asked casually, but there was nothing casual about the sharpness in her gaze. If this was a test, she was going to be disappointed. Nope, didn't even occur to me. He laced his fingers together behind his head and leaned back. In fact, I tried very much to discourage him from you at all. Good. The relief evident in her expression caught him off guard. That's great, she said, sounding bored again. He tried to shake off the glimpse of humanity he saw in her. Again. Okay, a few things. I can be here as early as 8, but I need to be home in time to make Piper dinner. That's a must-have. Fine, that should be easy. What's your going rate? Her lips twitched. Just your silence. He was uncomfortable with that, but didn't expect anything different. For a brief moment, he thought about digging the check out of the file where he tossed it, giving it back to her again. Also, no drugs or alcohol in the studio if I'm here. That's a non-starter. It's a studio rule, so that won't be an issue. She grimaced. Just the same, I want it to be stated. Fine. He sighed heavily and rolled his neck to crack it. I don't like this. I know, she replied, a hint of smugness in her tone. She turned thoughtful and then, I won't do anything to wreck this for you. She tipped her head back and closed her eyes. I remember what it was like to have a shot. I won't mess this up for you. You mean again? He said before he could stop himself. She sat up a little straighter and studied him carefully. Again, she repeated, her eyes searching his face. I shouldn't have said that, he grumbled. But it was said, so let's talk about it, she offered reasonably. Nope, he didn't like that. He propped his ankle on a knee and held onto his calf. I don't trust you at all, he stated firmly. If he thought she'd flinch, he shouldn't have held his breath. She nodded, waiting for more, as if not being trusted were the same as liking the color blue. Do you want to tell me what I did? She asked calmly. Why? You don't even remember me. Old hurt burned inside his gut, and he pushed it aside with familiar anger. She pushed her glasses to the top of her head and rubbed her eyes with her thumb and forefinger. She took a deep breath and clasped her hands in front of her with a nod. You're right, but it's not your fault that I don't remember. There's a lot. She rolled her eyes at herself. I have an entire life of ghosts just waiting to jump out and ruin my week. She bit down on her bottom lip and gazed soberly at the floor. If you'd rather not say, that's within your right, but maybe it would be cathartic for you if you tell me why you're mad. She raised her eyes to his, and he could see how difficult this was for her. You won't find an argument from me. Johnny wasn't sure what to think of that. On its face, it seemed too easy. She was so matter-of-fact about it, but there was a genuine remorse laced through her tone that he was mad at himself for noticing. I played on your first album. Her expression turned inward as she tried to access what he was referencing, testing its truth. We hooked up that week. That was the part he hadn't told Sean, or anyone. And you told me I would get to come with you on tour. Her eyes moved rapidly over his face as she tried to find a thread of memory. It hurt that she didn't remember. It felt like another rejection. He hadn't even made an impression that could be triggered with reminders. And then, he raised his eyebrows, you got me fired. Her face went slack and she stared at him. I got you fired? She repeated in a whisper. Yep, I had one more day of recording. And when I got to the studio, your manager was waiting for me. He told me that you said I was harassing you and asking for money, and he fired me. Her head jerked to the side, her expression deeply troubled. It took a while for me to get work on another project. The rest of the story didn't involve her, so he stopped talking. He'd done all right for himself, and he knew it. He'd worked hard, fought for it, and now he had something better anyway. Didn't mean he forgave her, though. And it sure as hell didn't mean he trusted her. She took a deep breath, her eyes tracking to the floor. They sat together in silence for several minutes. In that time, Johnny realized that saying it out loud had done something. It alleviated a pressure he had been carrying around. For so long, he'd been carrying around this massive secret that he couldn't share because it would be wrong to do so. But saying it to the person who had caused the wound in the first place felt weird. Good weird. She'd been his first real heartbreak. Not because he was in love, he hadn't been, but he'd loved the idea of being with someone so fascinating and creative. And the future she'd promised was more than he'd ever dreamed in his life at the time. Getting fired shattered more than one dream at that time. And he never saw her again. Never got to ask her why she said those things or what he had done to deserve it, until now. No wonder you hate me, she said calmly. He didn't argue. She sucked in a breath. I hate me too. Maybe you can understand why I'm less than comfortable with my life being in your hands once again. She offered a sad smile. I also get why you want me to stay away from Sean. Again, he didn't respond because it wasn't needed. She might not remember what she'd done, but she understood the consequences of it. Something about that actually helped him heal a little bit. You'd have every reason to throw me to the wolves, she pointed out quietly. I'm not that person, though, he said. He thought that would be obvious. He'd had every opportunity to sell his story over the years, and he never even considered it. Well, I've always had good taste in men. Her casual response raised his eyebrows. She noticed and rolled her eyes. Like that's surprising. Look, Johnny, I know my word is less than nothing. I have no delusions that this will grow to be a buddy cop comedy by the end, but I would very much like to make up for ruining that shot for you years ago. I will do my best. You can have all of my remaining talent at your disposal. Wring me dry, and when it's done, I promise to bow out. You don't have to do this. I promise I won't tell anyone you're here. Clearly, we have trust issues. Interestingly enough, I'm the source of that for both of us. So let's call this mutual insurance. He bit down on his bottom lip. It made sense, except that he would always feel like she had the upper hand simply because he hadn't been lying. He wasn't that person. Airing someone else's dirty laundry wasn't in his arsenal, and he had no desire to add it. So her secret would always be safe with him, but he would never feel safe with her. That's all I have.
Awesome. Yay. So what do you like to write most? Do you write alphas or betas the best? Like what do you do typically?
I think I write betas mostly, but I've had a couple of characters that have come across very alpha without me intending them to. Like, it's just the character, you know?
Uh-huh. What about you, Rebecca?
I think I'm the same. I think I'm still sort of finding my way into these alpha men, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just not, yeah. And I think just learning a lot from reading other people's stuff.
Yeah.
I love the tension in that scene, that work-related.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a very slow burn book. It's so slow burn, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Slow burns are great. I love slow burns. So what inspired this book?
This one, well, like I said, the It Girls of the early aughts was part of it. And she was a character that showed up in my very first book. She was an ex-girlfriend, and she was real mean and real catty and really manipulative. And it's like she never really left my head. And I always thought, what would happen if she had, like, could she get a happily ever after? Like, what would that look like? What kind of a person would love her? Because she doesn't even love herself, you know? And so it was just always in my head for like 7 years. And then I just one day was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to write it. And that's what happened.
Well, okay. So reader or viewer Deanna, she's one of our regulars. She says, oh, wait, that was not the one I intended to click on. Whoa, she likes alpha males. Anyways, what is your inspiration? So you said the inspiration you told us what the inspiration for this book is, but what your inspiration in general? Like, what is your inspiration?
Usually music. Usually a song will just make me think of something, and I usually start with an emotion, and I'm like, and then I'll build a story around that emotion. So
okay,
no, it's a little, yeah.
I think that's the first time I've heard that. Like me, like the inspirations for me usually come from like things I hear or read, like little facts, especially with my historicals, little facts here and there, or like experiences, or, you know, things that happen in other books that I wrote. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's the next one. So, yeah, that's interesting. Music. Yeah. What about you, Rebecca?
Well, I feel like its places have been really inspiring me. Like, and I'm sure that's because of my experience. But I think having been someone who's been quite nomadic, this idea and this series that, you know, with this novella that you've just heard the beginning of, that house, it's like it's the heart of this whole series. And I think there's something to do with places and the energy of places that even when you're not there, you can still, it makes an impact on you. And I like that at the heart of the story.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, so, and this is Karen, and she's our amazing, but I think she was not here for the beginning. Do you have audiobooks also for your books? Just FYI, Karen, Rebecca is a narrator, so, but do you have an audiobook for your own release?
Yes, I do. Because I had to, right?
Yeah.
I find when I'm writing, like I really can hear it in my head the whole time, and the dialogue is like very, very alive. And I know a lot of writers talk about that, like you sort of feel. And I've always loved audiobooks and radio dramas, and I've taught a lot of that. And so when I was writing, it was, I've got to narrate, you know, so I better get myself organized with that equipment. And I don't think I really thought I would be narrating for other people as well. But it's quite strange narrating your own book, I'd have to say. It's a little bit like, you're sort of like very in it. It's hard to be objective, but that, yes, I have narrated it, and it will be released at the same time as the novella.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So you said it's hard to be objective. So as a narrator, do you typically, like, is it different? So how is it different then, like from narrating your own versus?
I think when you're narrating somebody else's story, it's like there's parts where it's like you're enjoying it and it's, oh, this is good, right? Like good writing is easy to narrate. And good characters are fun to narrate because it's like you just in the way that when you read them, it's like you get into it. But I think just sometimes when you're narrating, I know that a part maybe that's good when it's like, oh, I love that. Like I liked reading that aloud because it felt really real, or it felt very three-dimensional. But sometimes it's just like, oh, that sentence is too long.
Yeah.
And then it's yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I get you. I get what you're saying now, because like even reading my own work, I'm just like I'm constantly like, should I change that? Should I do this? Should I do that? Like, but I can really get into other people's work.
Yeah.
But usually, to be fair to myself, when I'm getting into other people's work, I'm thinking I should be writing this good. I should stop reading it and instead write good things. But what about you, Heidi? Do you have books that are narrated or audiobooks?
I don't have any yet, but Key Change will have an audiobook. It'll release the same day. So yeah, narrated by Samantha Brentmore, who is just phenomenal. So yeah, I'm excited because it'll be my first audiobook. I've wanted one for so long and I'll finally get one.
Yeah,
I think you'll love it. Like authors just get such a kick hearing it.
Yeah. No, for real. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Karen was not here for the beginning, I don't think, because I am working on that right now. Steve is my husband. They also call him Chief because he was a chief in the military. So he will be reading whether he wants to or not. So yeah. All right. So next question. How do you decide on your characters' names? And have you ever changed any of them during the writing process?
Heidi, can you take that first? I need to think about that.
Absolutely. Sometimes I already know the names. Sometimes I'm just like, these are the names and this is who they are. Sometimes I literally pull one out of a hat because I'm like, I don't know what to name them. I just need a name. I'll ask my kid, who usually gives me like some sort of Pokemon name, which is not helpful because I can't use that. And yes, I have changed a name in the middle of a manuscript. I'm like, this is not her name. She won't answer to it. She won't talk to me anymore. She's mad. I got to find her name. So yeah, it's always different. It depends on the character.
Yeah.
I think honestly, the names just kind of came to me. It's weird though, isn't it? Because if you think about the energy that you put into choosing your child's name, and you think maybe choosing your character's names would be the same, but it's just like, oh, sometimes I think they just chose their own name, the character.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know that I love that name, but that's her name. But I did find this novella I had, or it might be the first book, there's something that I sent to the editor that came back. She's like, did you know that you've got 3 characters with sort of the name Morris? Like Maurizio and Moro and Mora or something. I was like, oh God, I obviously really like that name. And I had 3 variations, and she's like, it happens all the time. I was like,
yeah.
That's me. I had to change some of those. Fun though, right? Googling sexy Italian names.
So in your eyes, basically, sexy Italian names has to start with Mar.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. If I ever write a sexy Italian, I'm going to start it with Mar, and then I'm going to tag you in my book.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So, I mean, as far as names, I don't know. Like, sometimes I just like, oh, God, what's a name I haven't used before? And then I'll come up with it. But and I've told people this in the past. I have this algorithm. There's like this math algorithm that I don't know where I learned it, but you get their first, middle, and last name, and you put it together, and then there's all this math you do, which I hate math, but it comes out with their personality in the end, and I'm just like, wow, like, but usually it fits. And the reason I'm a big believer on this is because I did it on me and my husband, and it came out with like almost our exact archetypes, and so I'm like, okay, so if I'll do their names, and then I'll do this algorithm, and if it doesn't really fit, like, especially when I'm writing it, then yes, I will change it during the writing process because their personality is coming out different, than what their name is, and then it just doesn't feel right. I know I'm kind of weird, but
that's a neat idea. I like it.
Yeah, I don't know where I learned it from, but yeah, it's crazy. But with that was our last question, and we are at time. And I don't know if I told you ladies this, but it goes super fast. And usually I share that. So, but is there anything else you want our readers to know about your stories, your books, or anything before we go?
I just am really pleased to have had the opportunity to say hi and introduce myself.
Yes.
And I welcome anyone to check out my website and sign up for my newsletter. And just really lovely to connect.
Yes, and enter the contest. You guys have some books up for grabs up on our Romance Happy Hour page. And so hop on over there if you didn't, and enter their contest. And what about you, Heidi?
I'm just so thankful to be here and that I was able to share this very exciting book for me, because it's my favorite one I've ever written. So I'm just so excited to be able to share that with everybody. And follow me on Instagram and someone's going to get a free book. So, and I always sprinkle extra love in when I sign a book, just like really pop.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to talk later about what that extra love is. Is it glitter? I'm just saying.
It might be glitter.
Awesome. All right. Well, with that, we are going to say goodnight tonight on time. We're very rarely on time. So I think it's because Dylan's not here, because usually she talks just as much as I do. So we add a lot, but we're on time.
I think it's actually because I've got to go pick my kids up from school.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Let's end this. You can go get your kids from school.
I hope you will have a wonderful Friday.
You too. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Rebecca and Heidi, for hopping on here and joining us today. Bye.
Bye.